Hi there and welcome back to Sample Market's Producer Tips and Tricks video series, where we endeavour to provide you with sound design and production techniques to hopefully help speed up your workflow and deepen your understanding of the software and plugins you're using. In this video, we'll be exploring how we can create a number of different sound effects. In particular, we'll be taking a look at pitch and frequency modulation and how we can utilize these to produce a number of simple yet creative and imaginative effect sounds. So let's just jump straight in. So starting in Ableton then, let's kick off by creating a DJ scratch effect. I have some white noise that I created in the analog synth, and I've loaded the white noise into Simpler. Let's begin by changing the playback mode to one shot, and then we can select gate so that when we release the MIDI key, the sample will stop playing, which is essential for a gated, stuttery DJ scratch style effect. Next, with the filter frequency at around 1K, we can set a high resonance and changing the filter slope as well to a 12 dB filter for a more subtle slope. And then on the LFO, modulate the filter frequency of the filter with the LFO, boosting this amount to around 15, and then we can set the LFO rate to around 0.85 Hertz, making sure we turn off the LFO re-trigger for a less consistent yet more authentic sound. So now let's take a look at a quick effect for creating DJ rewind or spin back effects. Staying in Ableton, let's start with our drum loop. Reverse it. Set the warp mode to re-pitch. And over on our arrangement, bring up an automation lane for the master tempo. Increase the tempo range from 20 to 999 BPM. And then create an automation envelope that takes the BPM from the fastest to the slowest over a course of, let's say, 1 bar. From there, we can experiment with different envelopes, different curves, which will yield slightly different results. In this example, having exported and re-imported the audio, Ableton has in fact analysed a BPM of 95. Given this project is 134, we can now turn on re-pitch warp mode again for this audio channel, which pitches up the spin back effect a touch further, creating a more lifelike result. Finally, let's now employ Serum to help us create some well-known synthesizer sound effects utilizing pitch modulation. Beginning with the telephone or alarm effect, we can take our initialized patch in Serum, calling up a sine wave and a square wave, with the square wave an octave lower. We can also add another square wave via the sub-oscillator, creating more of a beefy synth tone. Adding and detuning extra voices can yield quite a nice phasing effect too. And from here it's all about the modulation, directing an LFO to modulate both the pitch and volume, and setting a square wave in the LFO will create that telephone or alarm style tone. You could also add some reverb, distortion and or delay here to bring the sound to life a little. Now for a siren style effect, let's stay with Serum, taking another initialized patch. Let's call up 2 sawtooth waves, detuned in opposite directions a touch to create a nice fuzzy tone. Modulating the pitch once again with an LFO, something rising in pitch will give it that siren or police siren vibe. But essentially, you can experiment with whatever envelope shape you like here. Adding some cutoff modulation here too is quite nice. And we've also opted for a series of effects, such as the hyperdimension effect, a chorus, some reverb and delay, but again, add these to taste. To take this siren effect one step further, try resampling it in your DAW, rendering the sound to audio and using different flex or warp modes. Try stretching or shrinking the audio for a nice glitchy lo-fi take on the sound. Okay, that brings us to the end of this tips and tricks video. I hope it's provided you with some great ideas for designing your own sound effects and utilizing pitch and frequency modulation within your DAW. And of course, if you'd like to stay up to date with future Sample Markets content being published on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button below.